There is a moment that arrives in every human life, though many never recognize it. It is not the moment of failure. It is not the moment of loss. It is not even the moment when pain becomes unbearable. It is the quiet instant just before surrender, when something inside asks a simple question: can I continue? Most people believe they break because life becomes too heavy. Ancient warriors believed something entirely different. Centuries ago, Miyamoto Musashi observed that victory rarely belongs to the strongest opponent. It belongs to the one whose spirit remains undisturbed when everything around him begins to collapse. If Musashi were watching the modern world today, he might notice that people are not defeated by hardship itself. They are defeated long before hardship reaches its greatest intensity. They break inside their own minds before reality ever breaks them. The story you are about to hear is not about a battlefield filled with swords. It is about the battlefield that exists inside every ordinary person. It is about a man who believed he lacked strength, only to discover that strength had never been the problem. Through a forgotten lesson hidden inside Bushido and Zen philosophy, he uncovered why most people break and why a true warrior rarely does. Chapter 1. The First Crack. Haruto lived an ordinary life that looked successful from a distance. He fulfilled responsibilities, met expectations, and rarely complained. Friends described him as dependable. Family admired his work ethic. Yet every evening, after the world became quiet, he carried an exhaustion that sleep never seemed to cure. At first, he believed the cause was overwork. Then he blamed stress. Later, he blamed circumstances. Every explanation seemed reasonable, yet none explained why even small challenges felt heavier than they once had. He was carrying something invisible, though he could not name it. One difficult afternoon, a minor setback shattered his composure. A single unexpected problem destroyed the confidence he had spent weeks rebuilding. The situation itself was ordinary, yet his reaction frightened him. It was not the problem that broke him. It was how easily he fell apart. That night, he asked himself a question he had avoided for years. If something this small could shake him so deeply, what exactly had been holding him together all this time? Chapter 2. The Bamboo Lesson. An elderly martial arts instructor noticed Haruto's growing frustration and invited him to walk through a quiet bamboo grove. They stopped where towering bamboo swayed beneath powerful winds. The old man asked him which was stronger, the rigid oak or the bending bamboo. Haruto answered without thinking. The oak looked larger, older, and more powerful. Surely it possessed greater strength. The instructor smiled and waited as another gust swept across the grove. The bamboo bent nearly to the ground before rising again. Nearby, an old branch from a larger tree snapped under the same wind. "The bamboo survives," the instructor said softly, "not because it refuses pressure, but because it refuses unnecessary resistance." The lesson seemed simple, yet Haruto sensed something much deeper hiding beneath those words. Chapter 3. The Hidden Weight. The instructor explained that most people believe suffering comes from what happens to them. Ancient Japanese philosophy often points somewhere else. Much of suffering comes from fighting reality after reality has already arrived. Every disappointment became two burdens instead of one. There was the event itself, and then the endless argument against it. Every mistake carried guilt long after correction was possible. Every difficult conversation continued for days inside memory. Every fear multiplied because the mind insisted reality should have been different. Haruto recognized this pattern immediately. He was not simply carrying today's problems. He was carrying yesterday's regrets, tomorrow's worries, and imaginary battles that had never existed. The instructor nodded. "Most people do not break beneath the weight of life," he said. "They break beneath the weight of resistance." Chapter 4. Bushido and the Quiet Mind. The code of Bushido demanded courage, honor, loyalty, and discipline. Yet beneath every visible virtue rested an invisible foundation: presence. A warrior entering battle could not afford to fight yesterday's mistakes while facing today's opponent. His attention belonged entirely to the present moment. Divided attention meant divided action. Divided action invited unnecessary danger. Musashi often described the importance of seeing clearly without allowing emotion to distort perception. Fear was expected. Pain was expected. Uncertainty was expected. None of these were considered enemies. Confusion was the true enemy, because confusion separated the warrior from reality. Haruto began to understand that his exhaustion had little to do with physical effort. His mind had been fighting countless invisible battles all day long. Chapter 5. The Rope That Never Broke. The instructor handed Haruto a thick rope and asked him to pull with all his strength. For several minutes they struggled from opposite ends. Eventually, Haruto's arms burned with fatigue. Then the instructor released the rope. Haruto stumbled backward, surprised by how much effort disappeared the instant resistance vanished. The old man smiled again. "You believed the rope was exhausting you," he said. "In truth, your resistance was exhausting you." Those words lingered for weeks. Haruto slowly realized he had been pulling against life in exactly the same way. Every inconvenience became personal. Every delay became injustice. Every criticism became proof of inadequacy. His greatest opponent had never been circumstances. It had been his refusal to release the rope. Chapter 6. Training the Spirit. Instead of chasing dramatic transformation, Haruto accepted a single practice. Every morning he would spend 10 quiet minutes observing his thoughts without following them. He would notice fear without becoming fear. He would notice frustration without becoming frustration. At first the exercise felt impossible. His mind wandered endlessly. Old memories appeared without invitation. Future worries demanded immediate attention. The instructor reminded him that success was never measured by perfect silence. Success was measured by returning, again and again. Each return strengthened the mind in ways invisible to the eye. Weeks passed before Haruto noticed the first change. Difficult thoughts still appeared. They simply possessed less authority than before. Chapter 7. Why Most People Break. Months later, another serious challenge entered Haruto's life. The kind of challenge that previously would have shattered him. To his surprise, fear still arrived. Doubt still appeared. Anxiety whispered familiar warnings. Yet something fundamental had changed. He no longer believed every thought deserved obedience. The storm outside remained the same. The storm inside had become quieter. That was the difference. Most people break because they believe every emotion demands a reaction. Every fear demands escape. Every uncomfortable feeling demands immediate relief. Ancient warriors understood that emotions are weather. Principles are mountains. Weather changes. Mountains remain. Chapter 8. Musashi's Unchanging Spirit. Musashi advised warriors to cultivate an unchanging spirit. This never meant becoming emotionless. It meant becoming stable enough that changing emotions could no longer dictate direction. The strongest warrior was not the one who never felt fear. He was the one whose principles continued walking while fear followed behind. Haruto discovered that resilience is not built during moments of comfort. It is quietly constructed each time a person refuses to abandon what matters, simply because the mind becomes uncomfortable. Every calm decision strengthened him. Every unnecessary reaction weakened its influence. Without realizing it, he had stopped measuring himself by circumstances and started measuring himself by character. Chapter 9. The Place Where Strength Begins. People often search for techniques that promise unbreakable confidence. Ancient philosophy offers something quieter and far more demanding. Do not ask how to become impossible to break. Ask what inside you keeps breaking. Observe it patiently. Do not condemn it. Do not fear it. Simply see it clearly. The moment something is seen clearly, it begins losing its power to control you. That is why Zen places such importance on awareness before action. Awareness transforms reaction into choice. Choice transforms habit into character. Character transforms ordinary people into those who remain standing when others collapse. In the end, Haruto did not become fearless. He became honest. He stopped pretending that strength meant never suffering. He learned that true strength meant suffering without surrendering himself. Perhaps that is the lesson ancient warriors understood better than anyone else. Steel breaks when it refuses to bend. Bamboo survives because it accepts the wind without abandoning its roots. The question then is not whether hardship will come. It always comes. The question is whether you will spend your life pulling against every storm, or whether you will stand with quiet discipline rooted in principle, allowing the winds to pass without carrying you away. That is why most people break, and that is why the warrior endures.